Good morning, class 12 students. This is the second part of the chapter, The Rat Trap, written by Selma Lagerlöf. It is actually a very beautiful chapter with themes like love, compassion, hospitality, and pessimism, and lot more. So, before we move on to our today's session, let's discuss the portion we covered in the last video. So, uh, this is actually the chapter was set in Swedish mine or Swedish countryside. So the chapter actually revolves around a rat trap sailor who moves around. I mean, he happens to be a tramp or you can say a vagabond, and he's traveling through the Swedish country, right? And this man has never been treated with kindness and love. So what does he do in order to survive? He sells rat trap, but he is not getting enough money by selling rat trap. That is why he resorts to petty thievery. And how does he get the material to make rat trap? He collects the material and the leftover from shops and from the people. Uh, so what happened? And because he has never because he doesn't know what love, hospitality and compassion is, because he has never received and nobody has ever offered him. That is why he has developed you can say a pessimistic attitude toward everybody and even the world. So one day, he was struck by an idea that that is his conception, that this whole world is like a rat trap. So this is where he used, the world is rat trap. This is where he used metaphor. Rat trap does not only mean the rat trap that we use to trap rat, it also means the world, you know which offers us comforts, in our life. It offers us riches, joys, happiness, luxury, in order to in order to tempt us and in order to trap us, because all the comforts of life are like bait. Similarly, in rat trap, we use the piece of pork or cheese to tempt the rat, and when he is tempted, you know it shuts upon him. So that is this is rat trap sailor's point, his opinion, because he is ignoring the positive side of the world and the people, because he has never received love. So according to him, the world is like the rat trap, and it offers riches, joys, happiness, the way a rat trap offers pork, cheese, in order to bait, or in order to tempt the rat. Similarly, this world is also tempting us to steal, and to fall prey on it. Understand? So now let's find out what happens next. So we'll move ahead now. I will be highlighting the text for you so that you could actually you could keep the track of the chapter. Okay. So this is where we are supposed to start from, because this is the last paragraph where we left, right? So bait, and now this is the paragraph uh, we need to begin with. Okay. One dark evening, as he was trudging along. So children, trudging along means walking along, right? Trudging means to walk. One dark evening, as he was trudging along the road, he caught the sight of a little grey cottage by the roadside. So I think everybody knows now that this fellow is a tramp. He's a vagabond. You can he can we can use the following names for him. Vagabond, tramp, or peddler. It is because he is someone who moves from one place to another in order to find shelter, food, and comfort, right? So that is why he's called vagabond. So one dark evening, when he was walking along the roadside, he actually caught a glimpse of a grey cottage, which was by the roadside, and he knocked on the door to ask shelter for the night, because this fellow rat trap sailor has no home, has no place to go, and it's too late, and I think it is a very, it's very chilly outside, I believe. So he's looking for shelter, so he knocked on the door, nor he was refused. Instead of the sour faces which ordinarily met him, the owner, who was an old man without wife or child, was happy to get someone on talk to his loneliness. So children, this is very important, you actually need to pay attention to it. The thing is that if I okay, so let me just highlight the few portion, because if I try to highlight this, I think it covers the whole paragraph, right? So just to give you an idea, where I'm reading, I will be highlighting a few words. Okay, so he knocked on the door to ask for shelter, right? Nor was he refused. Nor was he refused means he was welcomed. And instead of the sour faces means, if if you will, if you're unknown and if you will knock somebody's door, obviously you will not get a happy face. People will not, will give you a face with smile, right? So they will, they will, you will get to see their anger or frustration. But in today, he was welcomed, and even he was treated with, the man was the old man, who he treated him so well, and he welcomed him. The owner, who was an old man without wife and child, and this man, he actually lives alone, and he spends most of his times in loneliness. That is why, I believe, the peddler was welcomed, because the man was looking for some company in his loneliness. Immediately he put porridge on the fire, and gave him supper. So it is actually the evening meal, supper. So children, this we can clearly see that this man, although he's lonely, but this man, this man is very helpful, supportive, and hospitable, right? We can actually see that, when the peddler was welcomed, he put the porridge. Porridge is actually, we can say, in Hindi we say dalia, right? So he put porridge for him, and he also gave him supper. Then he carved off such a big slice from his tobacco roll that it was enough both for the stranger's pipe and his own. So you may be asked to write about all the hospitality that the peddler received or given by, right? So he was welcomed wholeheartedly, right? The old man, who was without wife and son, he welcomed him, and he also served him supper. He made him porridge, and he also shared his tobacco with the peddler. And then what happened? And they both smoked. Finally, he got out an old pack of cards and played Majolus with his guest until bedtime. And then what happened? When they sat, they ate, and then they played the card game Majolus, right? So we can clearly see the hospitable nature of the old man, right? Who is living by the who lives by the roadside, right, in a small little cottage. The old man was just as generous. Generous means, children, someone who is very kind or benevolent. So the man was just as generous with his confidences. So children, here confidences doesn't mean the confidence, the courage. Confidences also means secret and private matter. So right, you have to remember, here it means the secret matter. So this man was generous, he was very kind, and he even shared his private matters with as with his porridge and tobacco. So when they were eating, when they were smoking, the man also shared his secrets with the paddler, the Rattrap sailor. The guest was informed at once that in his days of prosperity means when everything was pleasant. Understand, when everything was pleasant, he was flourishing. So that is called prosperity, prosperous days, right? So he told him that when he was happy, when he was living a pleasant life, he had been a crofter at Ramso Ironworks. Like I mentioned, the chapter set in the Sweden mine. You will find, this is also an example of images, right? Because the author is trying to trying to make her reader to visualize and to, to imagine the Ramso iron work, the iron factory, right, which is very famous in Sweden. So he told him that he was once the or he told the peddler that he was once a crofter at Ramso Iron Works, right, and had worked on the land, and he worked there, and that he was no longer able to do day labor. It was his cow which supported him. So because now he's old, so he is supported by his cow. Yet that the bossy was extraordinary. She could give milk for the creamery every day, and last month he had received all of 30 kroner in payment. So in the beginning he was, he was a crofter, he worked at Ramso Iron Work, and when he grew old and weak, he could no longer work at Ramso Iron Work. But luckily his cow, which seems bossy, but it was, I mean, it supported him because it gave the enough milk for the creamery, and he was able to receive 30 kroner. This is the Swedish currency, right? So the stranger must have seemed incredulous. Incredulous means unbelievable, for the old man got up and went to the window and took down a leather pouch which hung on a nail in the very window frame, and picked out three wrinkled 10 kroner bills. So that was a very surprising part. Even the stranger was not expecting that. Why would someone, because the peddler has just met this old man, and this old man has not only offered him the hospitality, but also has shared the secret, and now he is about to show him all the money that he has saved so far. So the man, he got up and he went across the window, and there hung a leather pouch, right? So he took it off, uh, you know and he picked out three wrinkled 10 kronal bills. It means he has got 30 kroner. These he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, right? Nodding means when you move your head in obedience, right? So the old man showed the peddler, the Rattrap sailor, 30 kroner rupees. And now the children, the question rises here, that that this fellow, the peddler, the vagabond, he sells Rattrap, but he also steals things from people. Although he's not into robbery or any a great criminal activity, but he's a petty thief. So right, he's into petty thievery. So we have to now it's a question. So will he will he steal from him? Is he going to deceive the old man, the man who has offered him so much love, compassion, and all the hospitality? So let's find out. So these he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, and then stuffed them back into the pouch. So the man showed him 30 kroner, and he put those wrinkled notes back in the pouch and then hung them back. So now we have a few questions here, children, which we can actually discuss. From where did the peddler get the idea of the world being a rat trap? I think he get this idea from because from his rat trap, right? Why he was amused by this idea? I think it is actually very amusing, because what the we think that the world is actually a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place, but according to this this fellow, this vagabond, he thinks that it acts like the rat trap, right? It attract us, it tempt us, it set bait in the form of comfort, riches, joy, happiness, right? We get tempted, and then it's shut upon us. So that is why it is very amusing. Did the peddler expect the kind of hospitality that he received from the crofter? No, he did not expect any hospitality from the old crofter. It was actually an exception, children, because even in real life, if you're if you're a stranger, if you're knocking at somebody's door, whom you have never met, so we hardly get such kind of hospitality. So this is actually where we can say that he didn't expect it. Why was Crofter so talkative and friendly with the peddler? Because he is a lonely man. He doesn't have a wife or son. He lives he's alone. Why did he show 30 kroner to the peddler? Because he's a generous person, and he did not know that peddler would steal, right? And this old crofter, he's a he seems like a nice person. He's very generous and kind, right? And that can clearly be seen through his actions. Did the peddler respect the confidence respond in him by the crofter? I think we are yet to find out. So, children, I think that is enough for today's session. We will be making a third session on the chapter. So this is where we will find out. This is where we will find out whether whether the peddler is going to whether he is going to steal from him or not, from the old crofter or not. So let me just give you a quick recap of the portion that we covered just now. So the children, when he was walking along the roadside one evening, he came across a little old cottage, right? And it was too late, so he decided to to check, or so he knocked. And who welcomed him? It was an old man, right? He was an old crofter who lived in that cottage, right? So he took in the peddler, and because the old man, the crofter, he needed company, so so badly that he welcomed the peddler, right? He gave him hot food, porridge, and tobacco to smoke, right? And they also played card majolus, and because he's a generous person, right? So the old crofter, he shared that he was a crofter once at Ramsey Iron Work, and then now and then his cow supported him, and now he has managed to save 30 kroner rupees, which he hung, which he kept in a pouch, and the pouch was hung, right? And he hung the pouch on the wall. So he took down the pouch and he showed him those 30 kroner rupees, right? And it was the peddler, it was he was not expecting that. And now we have to find out whether the peddler is going to steal from him or not, and this will we find out in the next session. So children, that's enough for today. In case you have any questions or any queries, you can approach me. You know how to contact me, and when we will have an online session, live class, you can discuss your queries, the query that you have in this chapter, and you can also discuss the query uh, of the previous portion that we have that we had already done, right? And yes, in next Zoom class I will be discussing the term first and term second syllabus with you all, because the CBSE has released it. So that's all for today's session, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.